Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here, and it is Saturday the 8th of June. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. As always, the sites get free of charge by the adverts that you see around the screen here. So when you come back and you use the adverts and use the site, that's what generates the revenue that keeps us free of charge. So thank you for doing that. Now, weather-wise, looks like we've still got a dry few days ahead, but there are some changes afoot in the middle of next week. I'm not sure, though, those changes are going to be lasting very long, really, because it looks to me as if it's a temporary blip before we go back into drier conditions, at least across the south of the country at the end of next week, although it may be a different story for more northern and western areas. Now, I've got a look at how the latest longer range models are performing in just a moment for you, but just to concentrate on what we've got coming over the next few days, first of all, this is the GFS Ensemble forecast for London, and you can see how it's producing these more unsettled spells of weather from late on, well, middle part of the 12th onwards. So this is the middle part of Wednesday onwards. The green bars here are rainfall amounts, and you can see how really we dry right the way through until that point. Now, temperatures will be picking up too. It looks like we're going to be seeing temperatures rising up to around 20 or 21 degrees, but then that rainfall comes in, as you can see, by the middle part of Wednesday. Notice, though, how we go drier then look by the end of the week. So as high pressure builds back in, we then find these dry conditions coming in, particularly towards the end of the week and into the weekend. So still going for this breakdown middle part of next week. But this video I wanted to concentrate on the more longer range look at things towards the end of June and the beginning of July. And this is the latest from the Japanese output. This is the forecast for week 1, and this goes from yesterday, so from Friday the 7th right the way through until Friday the 14th. So this is the coming week, and British Isles is underneath here. Now, you notice that we've got above normal heights. This is 500 millibar height anomalies. And notice how we stay with high pressure generally towards the north and the east of the country, but lower pressure forming out here in the Atlantic. And this is basically what we're expecting to see given the charts as they are at the moment. Now, for week 2, which takes us forward from Saturday the 15th through to Friday the 21st, then what this is showing is the lower pressures coming in across the Atlantic. You see these lower than normal heights here across the Atlantic, and we're into bluer colours here, hinting that we're getting back into more of a west-southwesterly flow across the Atlantic. The jet stream is through here, so it's kind of through this zone here, affecting mainly northern parts of Ireland and Scotland. However, heights stay above normal down towards the south of the UK. So this hints at southern parts of Ireland, probably much of England and Wales, staying in the drier conditions. We're going to be in a west to southwesterly flow, so probably not the anticyclone that we've got used to over the last few days, although that is positioned out here towards the east where we've got a ridge. I think what this is hinting at is rain affecting western parts of Ireland and also the western parts of Scotland too. But for most, I think we are in for a further drier week. I think one caveat we have to put on this, and this is one that's causing question marks at the moment, is that the Canadians make things much more unsettled during this period. I think we can probably take it that it's not going to be as settled as it has been, but nonetheless I still think southern and eastern areas essentially are going to be dry. Now, finally, for weeks 3 and 4. So this is taking us forward from around the 22nd of June onwards into the early part of July. And notice that the heights have come to be around or just below normal for the time of year. So we got a hint from the JMA. It's trying to build a picture of conditions perhaps more unsettled for some towards the end of the month. The jet stream is through here. So it's trying to hint at more unsettled conditions at the end of the month. I have to say I'm not overly convinced by this one. It does put the jet stream to the south. It does hint at low pressure coming in. And there aren't any signs of a ridge except here across the northern parts of Russia. So the JMA certainly going for this idea of the breakdown. Now, my feeling on this has always been that probably Scotland and Ireland and perhaps northern parts of England would be more prone to seeing rainfall, whereas to the south it perhaps is dry. The JMA confusing things a little bit, but let's try and clear up the confusion a touch by taking a look at the Korean model. Because this is surface pressure, and these are surface pressure anomalies from the Korean model. Now, this one is for the later part of June. You can see how it has higher pressure than normal here. Look across the UK and out towards the west. So it wants to make things drier. Now, if we then look at early July, you notice how it really does try to build in quite a strong height anomaly out here to the west of the UK. That would indicate higher pressure being in and drier, fairer conditions through this period. So it keeps the conditions dry across much of the UK through late June, although I think that would still allow for some rainfall affecting northern parts of Scotland. And it tries to keep it dry into the early part of July as well. Now, if we just take a look at the middle of July, look at the change that takes place here. Notice low than normal pressure to the north. We've lost our higher than normal pressure to the south. We're in more of a westerly flow, and conditions are definitely more unsettled. And this is the pattern that I think could develop here. That actually, despite it looking more unsettled late in June, I think most of the UK, particularly the southern half of the UK, is dry late June. And for the early part of July, all areas dry across the UK early part of July. But then we see this breakdown in the middle of the month. And I think that could take us into quite an unsettled period through the latter part of July and into August. It's just interesting to note the contrast there between the Japanese and the Korean models. I'm not going to completely rule out the risk of some wet weather for a time across Ireland, Northern England and also Scotland, around sort of in a week's time as the jet becomes established for a while. Not sure how long that will last. I don't think it'll last very long, but I think certainly the emphasis overall is on this drier weather through much of June into the early part of July before the breakdown takes place. South always better and drier than the north because the flow has now changed. We haven't got this easterly flow, we've gone more into the west or the southwest. So, rabbiting on a little bit there, aren't I? Hopefully that's been useful for you. And once again, thanks for watching weatherweb.net. Remember, we're kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen and by you coming back and using the site. If you've got any suggestions for charts or any features you'd like us to include on the site, please do let me know. But for now, thanks for watching and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.